baby dolls. Thank you to my 69 subscribers. I think we've hit peak euphoria. You know, today we're going to look at an interesting concept. Some call it a conspiracy, but I don't. Because if you've lived through 2022 and you actually want to use this BS term, it's a conspiracy, then you've learned nothing. And you will continue to learn nothing. There are no conspiracies, man. They're all true. They're all true. SBF was working for the government. He bribed everyone. He had BlackRock Capital and everyone on the ICO list. It's all true, man. It's all true. So how do we win? We win by learning. So I made a few posts. Today the focus is really going to be on the Bitcoin and the stocks correlation. And we have to start from a long time ago. Let's go through this together. Did you know that Paul Volcker, the ex-Federal Reserve chairman, said in the 1970s that the biggest mistake they did was let the gold price get out of control? They manipulated it back then, and of course they still do it today. If the Bitcoin ETF grows too big, we will suffer the same fate. And I have this beautiful visual that I make for the people. Gold did a 20x in the 1970s, from 1970 to 1979, basically the start of 1980. 20x, man. So this is when the stock market was going crap, right? The stock market was going bad during this time. So money was flowing to other places. It was going to gold. So there is a bull market somewhere. And if you look at the top right, this is a 20x gold rally, and it was embarrassing to the US government, the world reserve currency. They still seek vengeance on it ever since through the paper gold ETF. So Bitcoin can avoid this if everyone held it in their wallet. So here we have a picture of Paul Volcker. And I say, when Bitcoin gets big enough to undermine the credit label of the government fiat currency, the government will try to stop it in the same way they did gold. They created 100x leverage claims on the gold and keep its price down on futures exchanges. So this is where it starts. We have a quote, right? They actually said the biggest mistake we ever did was letting gold run away. So keep that in your mind, right? Gold is the indicator to us that no one respects the currency anymore. The fiat government manipulated controlled currency. That is the signal. And Bitcoin has been poking the bear for 10 years plus, right? So we have a Bitcoin and stocks correlation. So I want you to step in the shoes of a government and the central bank and the Federal Reserve and the cartel. You have to be in their shoes. You have to think like the IMF, think like the man. You have to make sure your currency is the ultimate choice for short-term store of value. The only store of value for short-term. If Bitcoin wants to play, it has to play long-term. But how do they destroy it? They can't ban it. No, they do something more sinister. I have made a video here, I can link it below. How do they actually manipulate the Bitcoin price down? I walk through, there's two parts video, right? Part 1 and part 2. I walk through everything here. Everything. You can see the bids, the offers. I even have these TT software ladders where you can see, okay, you get hit on a bid, it moves over your inventory. And I explain all of this through intricate detail like you've never seen before. I wouldn't be surprised if they delete this video, by the way, because I clearly say, if they hired me to do it, I'd do it. Because this is what they have to do. They're doing it right now. So I want you to look at something. Look at this, okay? I made a tweet here. Luna and UST was 105 billion total Ponzi. And it collapsed, and it was still not enough to disconnect the correlation of Bitcoin to stocks. Isn't that amazing? So you probably think Bitcoin went down with crypto because of Luna UST. If you check this correlation, let's get the little pencil out, pencil of friendship. If you check the correlation down here, we did not go down with Luna UST, man. We went down with the stock market. Look at that. Look at that. It's the actual stock market. That's crazy. Right. So remember at the beginning of this video, I just went through, I just showed you that gold ran away from the central banks and they actually let it slip. They go, the biggest mistake we ever did was letting that little gold, that pestering gold, we let it slip and pump to the heavens. So now they have every single interest to make it go down and to keep a lid on the price and keep it as a speculation tool. That's what they have every incentive to do. So in here, I have another tweet. Not a coincidence, planned behind scenes, Bitcoin correlation following stocks to the exact tick for a year, and then the FTX Ponzi collapses, their trading engine turns off, the correlation breaks mysteriously. I was calling it from a long time ago. Yes, I was calling it from a long time ago. They don't call me the prophet for no reason. You have to think like an evil bastard. How does the Federal Reserve get everybody to respect the US dollar? How do they do that? Let's go quickly, I'm just going to quickly type in the DXY here. Actually, we got the DXY up here. I want you to have a look, man. Last year, the US dollar was down here. And inflation, everybody was disrespecting the US dollar. Peter Schiff was like, the dollar's going down. And then they raised rates, the highest they've been. They get you to respect the fiat currency. Respect it, or we're going to crush you, smash everyone's debt. That's what they do. That's what this move is for. It's intentional. It's not, inflation. They fudge the numbers, man. They fudge the numbers. There's been evidence now. There is, for this whole year, there's been over reports of jobs created by like 1 or 1.5 million. There's like literally been an extra million jobs in the data when it shouldn't have been. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. They obviously did that because they want some leeway. They go, unemployment rate is still 3.5%. I guess we can hike rates. That's not a coincidence, man. None of these are coincidences. They plan it. They do it. They fudge the numbers. They're obviously doing this behind the scenes. And I'm not even saying this like, they're all evil in control. Of course they are. I'd do the same thing, wouldn't you? If I put you as head friend of the US dollar and you must protect the sanctity of it and you must keep their network effect first place in America, you're telling me you wouldn't do this? Of course you would. Of course you would. When they plan this years in advance, man, they go, you know what? We're going to have to wipe out some of these weak countries who are disrespecting us, like China and everyone else. They got all their debts in there because they have all the numbers. They got spies everywhere. Not even spies. They know. They own everything, right? So they know everyone's numbers, man. They make the currency. Of course they know everyone's numbers. So it's obvious this would happen. This is not even like obviously when you look back in hindsight, we're shocked at the move. But look, this is planned. This is not, golly gee, it happens up here. I made a video here calling for the Fed pivot. And look, DXY comes down. Because I was reading the tea leaves here. I could see many countries were like, fuck this US government, fuck them. And I was noticing language from like Bank of England and other guys. They were not the language of somebody who's on the same team as USA. They were the language of people who are pissed off. That's what they are. Okay? This is a very delicate, sensitive thing to look at. And I can only see it because I'm here 18 hours a day. 18 hours a day. So, the whole critical issue that we have to discuss is Bitcoin went down with the stock market here. This was not Luna UST. That's what's the narrative surrounding it. It was actually the stock market bring it down. Man, we have this chart, man. We have this chart. You can see it. You can see it. This is everything, right? Look, even this little pop up here, we come back down. However, now we come to the ending of the movie. We come to the ending of the movie. The correlation breaks. The correlation breaks exactly on the FTX collapse. Exactly. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, you can't. You can't possibly think after all the pieces of the puzzle are put together that you think it's a coincidence that when they shut off the website and the trading engine and the API for FTX and it's actually gone to zero, that the correlation now suddenly breaks. You can't think that's a coincidence. Okay, you're not thinking if you actually believe that's not a coincidence. So, one of my friends asked me, hey, how come Why would you even do this, and how would you do this? So the reason why you would do this is very obvious to me. You control the US dollar and you see Bitcoin here competing in 2021. People, it's going to the moon, man. It hits $1 trillion market cap. You know, gold is 10 trillion. And they want a Bitcoin spot ETF. They can see it in the future, the 10 years shit, what happens? How do you stop this? You stop it by, you get some friends. I don't know who. I'm just going to throw out a name. Maybe it's Citadel. I don't know. There's probably other shadow names out there. I don't just want to focus on them. There's obviously someone who knows what to do. And how do they know what to do? I'm in a dusty room in Australia down under wrestling crocodiles. And I literally made a video on YouTube telling you exactly how to do it. It can be done. What you would do is, and your intention is to train the market to thinking that what they're seeing is the fair value pricing for Bitcoin. That's the exact thing you want to look at. So if we correlate with the stocks down here, okay, this whole way, every single person who buys for the narrative of new money, getting wrecked. Absolutely getting wrecked. So your intention is to train the market. You know who we can even look for? In the XRP case, they released in the court files that Brad Garlic House, I call him Brad Garlic Breath, just because it sounds funny. He had leaked emails to the market maker, and he said, hey, we're going to release some good news. I want you to slug it upwards every time we release good news. And they did. And the intention is to train the market to believe that this stuff coming out is good news to pump the price upwards. So if he's doing it with a little crypto, XRP, you telling me they're not doing it with his bigger stuff? Of course they are. Of course they are. Right? When they went to print money, it's very obvious in 2021, 2020 that they put the emergency price lids on gold. Very obvious. That's why gold never rallied. Maybe it tried to rally, but yeah, they had 100x leverage on that. You can't. It's the equivalent of, because we all understand Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's got 21 million supply. Imagine someone put a 100 million offer on CME futures. 100 million. You're like, dude, there's only 21 million existence. How is there a 100 million offer? But that's because the collateral you have to use to sell is USD. That's the ultimate difference. That is all explained in my video. So that's why you can even see here, the good actor on the right hand side, the good actor is Binance, just for example, because to sell Bitcoin on Binance, you need to own Bitcoin already. But to sell Bitcoin on CME, you only need US dollars, and they print it. You understand? That's how you make the total value of your account bigger. So we look back. This is not a coincidence, okay? This is nowhere near a coincidence. FTX suddenly goes down, you know, and they're trying to train the market to correlate to the stocks. Because what's the Fed's goal? I want to go back to the US dollar when they are doing this big. The Fed's goal here, remember, I kept saying the Fed's goal is respect the US dollar. Give us respect again. It's not trash, it's respect. We are first place. That's what the goal is here. If they let Bitcoin keep rallying as the stock market comes down, if they let Bitcoin keep rallying, you know, what signal would that have sent to the world? They would have said, oh my God, something's going on here. Wow. Bitcoin, new money, internet money, here we go, new paradigm. It actually would have sent that signal. So you have every single incentive to make sure that your market makers are crushing us down. Sell with the stocks, which is exactly what was happening. It's exactly what was happening. Every time stocks went down, sell with the stocks, hypercorrelate. That's the ultimate goal. Look, I like to take devil's advocate position and like the other side of the argument all the time, just to test how strong you believe in it. So you could say, maybe the US Fed, right? Maybe the Rothschilds, whoever's in control, you know they're in control. But maybe the guys who are printing the money, they're in control. Maybe they don't care too much about Bitcoin. Maybe they just had the goal of, all right, we want our interest rate hikes to be very effective and stopping inflation. Remember, because inflation was very hot, right? So maybe they say, okay, let's use some of our influence. They have friends with very large accounts, obviously, big treasury bills, big bonds, everything. Let's get them to sell harsh along the way, and we give it market a push. Give it a push along the way. You could say that they did that, right? That is the other side. I don't like that roses and fairies argument. They're like, oh, this is just part of our plan to like make sure monetary policy works because we want to, take the pain now to get inflation down so it's better off in the future. That's a bullshit argument. That's probably I reckon if they got caught doing this, that's the excuse they would put on TV, right? So if I guess it was the Federal Reserve conspiracy, the banking cartel conspiracy, if that was planted all over news journalist articles, that is probably the reason they would give as to why they did. Oh, it's just, we got to stop inflation because it's so painful. We don't want to end up like Argentina, another third world country. We do what we have to do. They always have these backup story plans. You can always make this stuff up. But obviously, I don't buy that and you don't buy that because why? You have a brain and we can actually think for ourselves. So there's absolutely no way this is a coincidence. There's absolutely no way you're telling me we follow tick for tick the stock market the whole way, and then suddenly the guys who we were calling the snakes, SBF, Alameda, FTX, we're calling them snakes the whole time. And we're saying they're evil. I was talking about this correlation happening. I said they had every incentive to do it. You know when I was saying this was happening? Back here. We were correlating for tick. And as soon as it started happening, I made the call. Go check my Twitter, man. You can go check my Twitter. I was talking about this back here. I was like, something sinister is going on with this correlation. They're doing it on purpose. Because no one, look, I've traded with an auto spreader. I've traded very, very, very tight correlations. I have. No one with a brain, right? No one with a brain would correlate Bitcoin, such an extremely volatile asset based off its history, so closely tick for tick. No one. Unless you had infinite wallets, you had instructions, and there was a deal behind the scenes. No one. It makes absolutely no sense for the liquidity to be this tight here with stock market go up, stock market go down. The way you got to think about it is, imagine there's a set of Bitcoin traders, and on the other side, there's a set of S&P 500 traders, the stock market traders, yeah? Why would, like, if you were taking bets, right? Let's say you were trading the correlation manually. Why would you buy up Bitcoin? Actually, let's do it another way. Why would you sell Bitcoin immediately down here? Why would you do that? Not knowing if the S&P is going to come down yet. Why would you do that? Because the S&P could have gone up, right? Because you're trying to trade the correlation, right? Like, why would you correlate it that tick for tick, even over a weekend? Why? It makes no sense. Nobody who knows what they're doing would manage risk like this. And you're telling me the collective market is just deciding to do this, tick for tick? I don't buy that whatsoever when it's never done it before. So that's a very, very, very critical part when you think about it. So we know something's going on behind the scenes. We know that they're doing it. It's not even like can't even call it a conspiracy. I will do this too. You have to maintain first place. US sanctity. But what about prophecies? What about prophecies? Now that the correlation is broken, we have to think, are they going to use someone else to try to do this? And who can they do it? So maybe, just throwing it out there, maybe they target Binance. Maybe. I can't write. It's not working. Okay, yeah, maybe. Don't know why it's not working. All right, maybe they actually target Binance for the next bull market. Not send them down, but try to gain control over the market dominance. Maybe they try to dampen their competitiveness. That's one scenario, because they want to install their own one. Now it makes sense, right, why CME has the Bitcoin ETF futures only. Futures and not spot. Now it makes sense, right? Because a spot ETF would be you buy only. So you can see Gary Gensler is related to... Gary Gensler's a puppet. He's taking orders from the banking cartel The owners of the Fed are like JP Morgan. You can look them up, right? And there's a lot of private owners. You never know. The Rothschilds, they all do own them. I know you've probably heard a lot of words. You think, oh, is that everyone says that, but no, it's actually true, right? JP Morgan, the founders, Rothschilds, they actually own the Federal Reserve. And there's all these like really, really deep hidden, like, long chain of like companies that disappears into the shadows. So you can't actually find out the real owners. So they all own it, control the money supply, they print the money, they want US dollar to be number one in the world. Network effect, they're doing what just number one would do. That's it. That's how you stomp your feet around. How can we play this, man? Maybe CME goes, maybe Bitcoin, Binance's reigns, maybe it starts to slow down. That's one thing. We got to hope that we can make some crypto that don't really need to be correlated too much to Bitcoin. That's what we have to hope, actually. That's how we escape out of this. If someone can make a killer application where people actually want to put US dollars into a bank account and buy this coin and not buy Bitcoin first, which is what's happening right now, then we can control it more. Then we can actually really start to break and do much better. Because right now, we're still tied to the hip. Right now, you do have this. This is a sign of hope. We've broken the correlation, and hopefully we can start to break in the future. So we know it's all being manipulated. We know they've got to keep this correlation back together. They've got to get it back again somehow. We know a lot of these things, they're not coincidences. But hopefully we have seen the worst of it now. We just know that this thing will come in the future. And if you were to ask me, okay, is there an action you can take today to benefit from this? The answer is no. The action you take is when we are, this line is the Bitcoin halving, 1 year after the Bitcoin halving. If Bitcoin is between 80,000 to 200,000, if Bitcoin is anywhere in this box, in this region of time, okay, I want you to promise me you are not going to say this time is different. You will remember. You remember my lessons. And don't worry, I can't even right click, something's going on here. You will remember my lessons from down here. You remember this. They can control the currency. They can manipulate Bitcoin down. They can keep the correlation high so it sells off with the stock market. They can do that. The last thing they want, the absolute worst case scenario, is stocks go down and Bitcoin goes up too high. That's their worst case, because that means people are exiting the US stock risk on asset to the internet free money uncontrolled one. That's the actual worst case. And it so happens to be an alternative to the US dollar. Like, that would be the worst case scenario. So we will be exiting up here. I don't care what country you live in. You're going to get some US dollars up here. Because you know they're going to do their game again. You know they're going to do the game again. And maybe you're going to see the actual, something's going on. Let's try DXY. Maybe we'll actually see, oh, it's not loading. Maybe we'll actually, oh, here we go. Maybe we will actually see the US dollar squeeze up again somehow. Maybe it'll actually like send so many countries to their knees as the US tries to gain its dominance again and maintain first place. So this is the pieces of the puzzle. I guess we'll see how 2023 plays out. Until then, I'll see you next time, friends.